Hi class. If you are watching this video, that means you have made it in and there is a sub. And we are on day 22. Please always remember to be respectful to the sub at all times. So our agenda for today is to watch this video in its entirety because you're going to get directions on what to do for your next steps. We are working on our surrealistic collage drawing that we started last class time. We are going to be drawing in pencil only today and not doing any color. If you still need this rubber cement or scissors to complete Monday's assignment, please see the sub for those materials. You're going to be working on your drawing for the whole period. At the end of this class, you will put your assignment back on your personal shelf. And please return any other materials you may have borrowed from me. So for our surrealistic collage, we are going to be adding a drawing element to our photographs that you already pasted on. You want to encourage a continuation of a surrealistic scene. Remember, surrealism looks realistic, it feels real, but it has a dreamlike quality. It has something off about it, something that doesn't quite make sense. But the images tell a story. They allow the viewer to explore the piece and find their own meaning. Here are some great examples where an artist uses collage combined with drawing to create a surrealistic scene. The next step of what you're going to do today is going to be the most challenging because as an artist, you're going to have to figure out how to still make these objects and your drawing appear realistic, but yet also have that fantasy feel. So this is where we left off last class time. You cut out your 5 images and you pasted them on to create a scene. What you'll want to do before you start drawing is to check to make sure that you properly applied the rubber cement. Feel the edges of all of your photos. If you feel that an edge is peeling off or is curling up, you're going to take the rubber cement and paste it underneath it to fix it because you want these photos to be completely flat before you start drawing. You can see on this one, it's all completely flat. Nothing's coming up, nothing's curling up as I'm touching the edges. You also want to make sure that rubber cement is no longer on the white paper. You can see on this one, there's still a lot of rubber cement. So I have to use my finger and I'm rubbing back and forth and it's going to create these little boogers to peel off any excess rubber cement. So I just kind of check my edges and I have a lot here that needs to come off before I start drawing. So go through and just make sure that you have no curled edges. And then lastly, make sure the rubber cement is completely free of the paper. So I've got quite a bit to do on this one. So I think I'll pass on drawing on this one for now, since I'm going to do my demo now on drawing. So everything is flat. There's no more rubber cement showing. You are ready to start the drawing component. Now, one thing that helps a drawing to give it more depth and to give it more realism is to create what we call a ground level line or a horizon line. This is a line that separates what would be on the earth versus what would be up in the sky. You can make a ground level line or horizon line straight. You can have a curve to it. It also doesn't even have to be outside. If you're creating a scene that's inside of a room, this line would just separate the floor from like the wall that you might see. So I'm just creating a line here to give some depth. So my hands look like they're clearly in front. And now this is kind of this ground level here on the background. Another idea you may want to do is continue the images beyond the paper that you cut. So for example, this image here, this was of a rose and only half of the rose is actually showing. So what I'm going to do is come up with an extension to this rose that maybe is not traditional of what you might see with a rose. So you can see if you can figure out here what I'm creating. Kind of making it look like the rose is actually melting onto the picture page. And then maybe I'll let those drops come down. And maybe those drops will be forming a puddle, which will be on my ground level. Maybe there's another puddle over here. And maybe the drops are going to go behind the key. Perhaps I want to continue this match somehow. Maybe I will extend these flames into the upper part of my drawing. Just giving some detail to the ponds here. Maybe on this horizon line, I want to push a little bit more depth. And actually, instead of making this an outdoor scene, I am actually going to make it an inside scene. And I'm going to add a vertical line going right here. And this is going to show a door behind these hands. I'll do an arch doorway. So I'm just picking up my pencil so that way the hands still clearly look like they're in front. I'm going to add a door handle right here to give some depth to that. And I'm going to keep going with this. Let's play around with this scene here a little bit. Well, I just instinctually want to give this guy something realistic, not very surreal, but I do want to incorporate that. And then maybe I'm going to play around with this round object here. And I'm going to give some eyes to this moon, giving it a face and some ears. Yeah. And maybe I'll give it some wacky hair too. Supposed to be like a huge nose. And maybe I'll give it a neck and some shoulders. And I feel like this piece is going to need some ground level too. So what if I make a ground level so it looks like he's coming out from behind whatever this ground level line might be. And then maybe behind that, I'm going to have kind of a galaxy mountain-esque scene behind that. And then maybe I'll extend this clock, because I cut it in half, but why not take the lines of this clock and let them into some kind of interesting snake type form. Oops, you guys can't see it, but I'm down here. I'll turn my photo here. A snake kind of form. Keep that line there. We'll keep that line there. Actually, that didn't take it off too much. And maybe this finger will also have snakes growing out of it. Ooh, that's weird looking. So it is possible to draw on top of your photos as well if you need to. Doesn't look quite as realistic, but we can work with it. When we get into shading, I'll talk a little bit more about techniques on lifting up the photo. Oops, I just pulled a little bit of this guy off. I need some rubber cement back on him. But we'll talk about that when we get into shading, which will be the next class period. So today, really your goal is to get a well-developed surrealistic scene that ties in your photos with drawing elements. You do not need to worry about, like I said, shading or color or anything to that degree today. It's really just penciling down ideas. Please utilize your picture page, work your edge to edge, leave no area untreated or untouched. All right, and I will see you guys back here on Friday. Thank you so much.